and welcome to our What's Your Story podcast. I'm Missy Day, founder of What's Your Story, and with me is...
Michelle Hausbeck. I am a partner in What's Your Story, and as we've coined myself, the Design Ninja.
Design Ninja. And our special guest today is our friend Kim Allen. So welcome to the show podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're welcome. That's our audience, in case you're wondering. So thank you for being a part and sponsoring us and all the stuff you're doing on social for us for What's Your Story. So my first question to you is going to be, why are you involved with What's Your Story?
Well, that goes back to last October when I was invited by Josh. He said, hey, there's this thing called What's Your Story I think you would love. And I was just getting into the Las Vegas area because we were newer to the area, and I thought, okay, let's go. This sounds interesting. And I got there and I sat there listening to these stories. And it didn't matter what the story was. I took away something from every single person's story. I could feel their story. And what I realized is when we use our voice, not only do we heal, we help others heal or have hope to maybe start that journey, to share their story. And so I just realized that I had my own story locked inside, and all these people sharing their story. I was like, oh no, world, you're going to hear my voice too. And I couldn't help but get involved. Like, it was meant to happen. So yeah, that was a profound day.
That was a very special day because we had something that never happened before with What's Your Story is all the people that went through my speaker training class ended up being the speakers for What's Your Story. And so they already had this bond that they had created with one another throughout that 4-month period. And then I just remember you and Mike were sitting in the first table there, and I didn't know who you guys were, and I just remember looking at you and I was thinking something great must be happening because she's crying.
How do you not cry? Just the feeling that comes across, and I can remember myself sitting there writing notes. Like, there was so many great takeaways that every single person had. And one of the great things about it is those people who were up there, I still interact with. Mm-hmm. I engage with. I'm friends with. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just a thing to go to. Mm-hmm. It was, friendship. It was family. It was connection. Mm-hmm. And I think connection is what is missing so much in this world. And so what a great opportunity.
I remember I unfortunately couldn't go to the pop-up in October because my husband got COVID and I was super bummed. However, the next day, there's this woman in my feed doing, it had been live video talking about the What's Your Story pop-up. Mm-hmm. And so I sat there and watched, and just how you were talking about your experience and what your story got me. I got teary-eyed and just, all the feels that you get when you are there through you explaining how you felt. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like, man, something powerful happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I can remember myself going home and I just propped my phone up on my counter and I just talked because it just hit me. I couldn't ever repeat those same words again, but it just, it hit my heart. And it was like, this was something, and kind of funny story before this is that I did my first presentation. It was virtual. And it was the month prior. And I could have just literally thrown up. I forgot everything I was going to say. I just went off the cuff. I'm not going to do this again. And What's Your Story changed that for me. Here's a little teary-eyed. Yeah, it made me realize that if you hold it in, you're not only robbing yourself of that freedom of letting it go, but what about all the other people that are holding it in that think that there is no hope?
Right.
And so, now my voice is going to be shared as much as I possibly can.
Well, Kim, so she has spoken at Like Minded Lunch, and she spoke at another club that I'm involved with, networking club that I'm involved with, and and you took the speaker training class, and so every time I hear you talk and share, it's just, I can't believe really how much you have grown and changed, since What's Your Story time, and having opportunities now, to be a speaker. And I just think anytime that you're a powerful speaker, whether you're telling your story or whatever you're telling, because if you really think about it, we're, as trainers, we're still telling stories, right? And you're just so good at it. So I hope that, that avenue really opens up for you, big, and you have lots of opportunities, to share.
I hope so. I have a passion for it now. I get on as often as I can live on Facebook and doing podcasts, doing interviews, and just getting my voice out there, because it doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do anyone else any good to just hold it in. And so I'm excited about that path. I'm excited about, I took your speaker training because, you know what, I want to be that much better. And so I'm excited about this path and whatever opportunities may open. So
I always say after I spoke the first time at What's Your Story that it became like addicting to start learning to share your story more, to speak. I too took Missy's speaker training class, but also to hear other people's story. I just, what you benefit from for listening to somebody else, what they've gone through, it's addictive to just the feeling, all the feels that you get and the growth that you can receive too from listening to other stories.
Right.
So I love hearing you say that, and I've heard you speak as well, and I'm excited to hear you speak again on the 14th, right? Nope.
That's the current class.
That's the current class.
Well, if there's a cancel, I'll slide right on in there.
Okay, see, I missed the last one, and here I am putting you in this one.
It will come again.
Well, speaking of throwing up, so I'll never forget. So this is when What's Your Story was at, a nursing home, which is another story for another day. And so I walked to the back. She had done speaking. She was sitting in the back. I walked to the back for the next speaker, and I said, "How are you doing?" And she was kind of crying, and she goes, "I feel like I'm going to throw up." And I was like, "That's a thing. Why is it everyone says that?"
Mine came after, thank God. Yeah. Everyone always has that. It's the fear of speaking, I think, in general. But then here you are sharing your story for the first couple times even. Man, but once you start doing it and see how people react, what's one of your favorite parts of sharing your story?
I would say it's the reaction and how what connects with them. Because if you connect with even one person, that's the goal. Do they take something away from this? And, all of this, what you just said, I'm so excited about What's Your Story coming. I just have to say that. Because I'm really looking forward to sitting in that audience and hearing these stories and all of that good stuff. But I think through this process too, is I've learned and grown so much. There's so many other parts of my story that it's like an aha, like, oh, I never even thought about that. And that's how I think about things, and how can I apply that now? How can I shift that? And so it's a constant evolution of growth and discovery. And so, I'm excited to sit in that audience, listen to these speakers. There's so many great ones, and just to take it all in, and cry. 'Cause that's going to happen. I'm the resident crier.
Well, Michelle and I were talking the other day because, so like at the pop-up, I was like in the very first row because I was up and down. And then we were like that at Huntington Beach. We were ended up being MCs, so we were up and down and like in the front row. And I was telling her, I said, just once, I would like to see what it's like to sit in the audience and really enjoy it and listen. Because sometimes, when you're emceeing and jumping up and down, like my mind is like, okay, who's up next and what am I supposed to be saying and all that stuff. And so we just decided that this time we're just going to sit towards the back and just take it all in, because I want to experience what the audience is experiencing too, because everybody's always been behind me. And so I'm not tuned into what's happening, with the audience. And so I want to experience that too and see what happens.
That's one of the things I am most excited about this event is Missy or we're not speaking, meaning we're not getting up there and telling one of our stories, which I think we have for the last 4 or 5 years, or Missy was emceeing, or like she said, both of us were, or we're sitting in the front, whatever. We're running the event. This time we get to be attendees because we have all the other logistics taken care of. We'll be up there a couple times, but I am super excited about that.
Me too.
That's going to be exciting.
And Kim so introduced me to Dean Smith, who is going to be one of our speakers. And so you had shared, well, he has a good story, you should meet him. And so then, so we're on the Zoom call and he's sharing his story and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
So thank you for that connection. I can't wait to see the whole deal.
I can't wait to see the whole deal. I've seen parts of it. I've seen his videos. We know each other. We've interacted, but I've never heard his whole story either. So I'm excited to hear it. I know him, so being able to hear more about him is exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. And, and Jeff, who has shared now twice, and he's spoken at Like Minded Lunch, but he and I were talking this morning, and he was like, are you sure you want me to speak? Because I've spoke before. And I said, this is the thing about What's Your Story, is that whoever I am and what I'm thinking and going through right in this moment is not going to be who I am on October 15th. So I'm going to hear differently, and he's going to speak differently because he's not the same as he was last October. You know what I mean? Because he's grown a lot since just last October. And if you remember when he was sharing, what that day meant to him, it was like, oh, this is going to be like blow it out the barn door time.
I'm excited to hear Jeff because I was there at Like Minded Lunch, and that was raw. That was new, raw discovery. And now, what's that been? Over almost a year. There's a lot that happens in a year.
Yes.
So this is going to be really good. It's like, let's see where you're at now. I want to hear about it. Yeah.
I'm excited to see, I don't know the word for this. I'm going to call it the thing, because I don't know what else to say. The thing that will happen, because every What's Your Story, there is something that is completely, not planned, unpredictable, and somebody will do something, and it just makes the audience's mouth drop. I mean, Jeff was one of those, or he was the one in Huntington Beach. He shared something that he didn't even plan to share, and it left us all sitting there like, oh, wow. That's amazing that you just shared that.
Yeah, there's always a shoe that drops.
Yep, there you go.
You know what I love about everyone telling their story is that we all have a different, unique story. And yet there's still similarity in some of those stories. And so we can all relate. We can all relate to pain. We can all relate to difficult things that happen. But sometimes I think you feel like you're out alone and no one else is there. And so when you hear it, you know, just engage in it, but then also allow yourself to feel it. Because there is no doubt you're going to feel through that whole time, and it's okay. It's like, what a great opportunity, what a safe space to be able to do this. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Safe space, no judgment. It's, and okay, so not only for the speakers is it that, but it's also for the attendees. That's what I love too, is just you can have a conversation with somebody, right, that you've never met before, and here you are pouring like your deepest, darkest secrets out, things you haven't told anybody or haven't said in a very long time, to a complete stranger, and they're identifying with you. They do the same thing. So it's, I don't know, I imagine like these little lights and sparkles going around What's Your Story of everybody just connecting and energy swirling.
I think so too, because that was one thing I think that was really cool that happened to Jeff when he decided to share this very vulnerable moment as a man, and then to have men afterwards come up to him and say, oh my gosh, or that, or even at the pop-up when he shared, like the men that were like, oh my gosh, I'm live that myself. And it's very rare, I think, that you have men that are willing to stand up and talk about that they're in an abusive relationship. You know, it's just not really done.
I agree. And I think that it needs to be heard. It absolutely needs to be heard, because men as a whole, men are in relationships, you know, they need to feel too. They need to be able to process that. They don't have to be that tough one. And he's, you know, putting it out there for men that you don't have to be that tough guy all the time.
Right.
Yeah. And it happens. Yeah.
Good stuff. And then of course, you know, I was telling myself today when because I've been watching Gary, because he's getting ready to speak at a big event tonight. He's speaking at a contemporary Christian before a concert, and he's just all hyped up about it and everything, and he got merch for it, which I was very excited about, I have to say. The Gary Miracle merch. But I was like, oh man, I have to remind myself, because he's our closing keynote, and I'm like, okay, I need to calm down and just like, you know, enjoy the whole day until he gets up there, and not, you know, try to
Rush through it.
Yes.
Because you're so excited.
Yeah, can you tell your story faster so we can get to Gary?
I read something today on that very thing. It was like, enjoy the pause all throughout it, and because everyone's gonna have something like that. And I can't even imagine the buildup. So I haven't been to one that's like a full day. You know, I think there were 5, right, last time, and that was so emotional for me. So a whole day.
Bring your box of Kleenex, girl.
Yeah.
You're stuffing it in my shirt.
No, and that's the beauty. Like, yes, you'll probably cry, but sometimes it's out of, there's different reasons. It's not because you're sad and miserable.
Yes.
You know, there's joy, there's laughing so hard you're crying, there's connection because you totally connect with what they're saying. There's tears of hope because you did think you were the only one and you thought you were crazy. And here's this person saying what they thought is exactly what's going through your head. So the tears are multifaceted.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Like, telling your story doesn't have to be, it's about how you've come out on the other side. I think that's important, is that yes, you have a story. It might have been painful, might have been great and exciting, but you come out the other side no matter what. And it happens to all of us at different points in our lives.
Right.
And I think we're constantly creating stories.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, it's that shock factor, and yet, oh my gosh, look at what they've become. Look what they've done with their lives. Look at who they're helping now. It's just this ripple effect of telling your story. There's so much goodness in it. Just,
I'm really glad that this time we're doing a Friday night event, kind of like a meet and greet with appetizers, and to meet everybody, because after Huntington Beach, after it was over, people were like, "Oh, you want to go out to dinner? You want to do this?" I was like, "No."
You are emotionally just done.
Yeah, I just want to go to bed.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody. I would like to just eat and go to bed.
I can see that. Just let me know if I have tissue on my eyelashes, because that seems to be a thing for me.
Waterproof mascara, eyeliner. Yeah.
Just skip it.
Yeah. No face, or don't have to put your face on. No judgment.
So if people would like to reach out to you and have you speak at their events or a podcast, how can they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me by emailing me at kim@power2heal, and that's the number 2, so power2heal. Or they can go to my website, power2heal.com, or of course, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on all of the places. So yeah, reach out. I'd love to come and speak.
And if you're attending What's Your Story, you'll meet Kim and her husband Mike first thing, because they're going to be at our registration table to check in. Yes, thank you so much for that. And thank you for your time today. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored. I'm super excited for this.
Me too.
Yay!
And how can people get a hold of you, Michelle?
Michelle Housebeck. I'm on all the social media channels. housebeckbrand.com. That's my website. I own a marketing and design firm. And if you would like to get a hold of Missy, how do they do that?
You can get a hold of me if you're interested in executive business coaching or corporate training. You can reach out to me at missy@missyday.com.
And if you have interest in attending our event this October 14th and 15th, you can go to whatsyourstory.vegas.
Yay!
Okay, I have to press one more fun thing. Oh.
And that, folks, is a wrap. Thanks for joining us.